What's up, everybody? Thanks for tuning in for another episode of Bonetown Podcast. This is episode 9. I can't believe I made it this far and keep today we have a good friend of mine. He plays with a band called Matamoska, and he's played with other LA ska bands, La Banda Scadavera, Steady 45s, and also Goldfinger. Uh, but first, I have a new ad today. There we go. Yeah. I'm promoting the Suffers Patreon. We started a Patreon at patreon.com/the Suffers. If you sign up, you'll get access to sheet music, stems from our records, so you can play along or remix tracks. You get a behind the scenes look at some of our recording of the new album coming out, hopefully sometime next year. Um, we're really excited to do this. We have a lot of cool things that we have in store and that we're going to be working on. And yeah, you'll get to see another side besides everything you see on social media and different content and covers that we'll be doing and different versions of songs as well. So if you want to become a member, go to patreon.com/the suffers. All right, like I said, today I have. All right, today I have my friend Robert Verdugo. Hopefully, I'm saying that right. Uh,
Perfect. It's perfect.
what's up, man? How you doing?
What's up, dude? I've been pretty good, man. Trying to beat the heat over here in LA.
Yeah. Did I pronounce your last name right?
Perfect, yeah. I
Okay.
mean, I probably say it wider than you do, honestly.
Verdugo.
Verdugo, Vertigo. I've heard it all.
Man, thanks again for joining, dude. It's been a while, huh?
Yeah, dude. Seriously, I feel like every time I've seen you, it's always just like I'm out there for a little bit at a show. You're out here over here for your show.
Yeah.
And the last time I saw you though, we actually
Yeah.
played together, right?
Got to hang,
Yeah,
yeah, and play together. Yeah.
we hung a while. Yeah, man,
Yeah.
that was cool.
That was a fun night for sure, man. I was
Definitely.
gonna say, when was that? Do you remember?
I have no idea, man. To be honest, like everything pre-coronavirus is just like a huge blur to me. You know?
Yeah, man, definitely. Like we were saying earlier, man, you're my first guest that we. This is a late show for the podcast, and I'm definitely a night owl, and I'm definitely feeling the night vibe. I might have to start doing this at.
Yeah,
I got a
yeah.
I got a nap in today. I got another cup of coffee, so I'm
A
fucking.
little siesta.
Yeah, dude, I'm fucking like I'm feeling it, bro. Sorry, man.
Yeah, I know, man. You do you, man. I'm waiting for this coffee to kick in. I'll join you in a second.
So, so yeah, so you play. You're from LA. For everybody that doesn't know, a band called Matamoska. Can you explain the name to everybody that doesn't know?
Yeah, so Matamoska in Spanish translates to well, in English it translates to fly swatter. So our logo is like kind of like a dead fly.
Hmm.
And any ska band gotta have ska in the name, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah,
ska at the end, perfect, man.
yeah.
But yeah, I actually live about a half an hour east of LA
Okay,
in a
cool.
city, Pomona, California.
Nice, dude.
Yeah, yeah. So I mean, like, all the homies in the band are from Montebello and from East LA. So I like to tell everyone that I'm from like the East LA,
Yeah.
and
Far East. Which I call it?
far east.
Pat says, "What's up, Rob? Go Astros." We're not getting
Yeah.
on. We're being cool.
No comment, man. No comment.
uh,
There's just so much I could say, man. Like,
dude, yeah,
y'all about to start your shame tour, right?
yeah.
I think I got my trash cans right here, and
Me too.
that would have been a perfect shirt to wear.
Yeah. But yeah, man. So how long have you been playing with Matamoska?
All right, so I joined the band in like May or like the spring of like 2015. That was my first year of college, and I went to Citrus College right here out in Glendora, California.
Nice.
And one of my first friends at that school was this trumpet player named Ivan Lopez. And Ivan, he's been, the homie. You've met him a couple times, when we've been out in Texas. Um, one of the first conversations that we ever had was like about ska, just like about like, random street light and,
Yeah.
just like these like random ska bands. And then one day he comes up to me, he's like, "Hey man, I uh I answered this ad on Craigslist with this guy that was looking to just like jam with some horn players, and like I'm gonna jam with him. He plays keyboard, it's a Sevan, he
Yeah.
posted this ad. Um and he was like, "Yeah, man, I'm gonna do it." I was like, "Okay, sick." And then, like a couple months passed. He's like, "Yeah, man, like this is dope, man. Like I'm just jamming with him." And I would always joke around with him, like, "Hey, man, like come let me play with your ska band, man. Come let me play with your ska band." And then one day he was like, "Yeah, like you know what? I'm gonna tell them about you, man. And you just learn." He told them about me, and they just said, "Learn a couple songs, come to the rehearsal, come hang. Let's just see what it's about, you know." And I remember I went to super super small, like smaller than my room right now, like way smaller than my room right now, like studio of
Hmm.
like there's like seven of us in this room, and I learned like three of their songs, and we didn't even play them until the very end. So there I was, just like standing there. They're rehearsing. I'm just like, "Yeah, man, like cool, you know." But I'm just like holding my horn, like kind of like in the corner, like at the back of the hall in prom or something like that. Just like, all right, waiting for the thing I know, you know. But yeah, and then finally we played the jams, and I just dug the vibe of the guys, and everyone was like super nice, even though there's a huge age gap in the band.
Yeah.
The band's been around since like 2000,
Mm.
like 2001, and I'm 24. I was born in 1996.
Yeah.
Like everyone else is old and stuff. But so I'm kind of, when I joined the band, I was like officially the youngest one.
Mm.
So they would like kind of refer to me as like the baby. I mean, some of the dudes in the band right now are like almost like, our singer's like almost 40, or drummer's almost 40, you know.
Yeah.
But and then like right below that, we have our keyboard player and our sax player who they're like, almost 30.
Hmm.
And then we have like me, and Ivan joined the Marine Corps, you know.
Yeah.
But he left the band temporarily, hopefully.
Hmm.
But so we were rocking like three generations in the band, and it was cool, man. Like getting to know those guys on like a super deep level, touring with them.
Hmm.
You don't really. It's like the saying is, you don't know somebody until you move in with them. It's
Yeah.
kind of like that. You don't know someone until you tour with them.
Exactly.
And see what they're about. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny because I have the kind of same story when I started playing with Los Carnales, man. Like same thing. Answer to ad, but this is shows my age is like on MySpace, and like so they were looking for horn players, and I was like, okay, cool, and answered the ad, went to the rehearsal, and I felt bad because I didn't learn any of the songs that they told me to, and uh,
Sweet.
and I was just like a young kid, and just and there was definitely a big age gap, and but they definitely taught. I definitely learned a lot of things,
Mhm.
especially and that's one cool thing about having these different age gaps. Everybody in Scarnalis either was in a long-term relationship already, or married, or had kids, or they were just adults, so you not only learn music and like all this stuff, but from them, but you also learn about like life stuff and like what they were going
Mhm.
through. And so when I would get older and I eventually hit those, like those same things or issues that they're going through, I'm like, oh, I remember now. And I kind of used it as to advantage to be like, well, I better, do this and, do that because I don't want this
Yeah.
to happen, or, whatever. But yeah, it's cool. It's especially when you tour and you go on, long, trips with them. You definitely, yeah, you get to learn know that person like really deep, and it's definitely a cool learning experience and camaraderie for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely, man. And especially because like a lot of these tours, like when I joined the band had been around for a long time, but like you said, like these guys have lives, these guys have full-time jobs,
Mhm.
and this was sort of like their side thing.
Yeah.
And then, me and Ivan joined the band, and we were going to school for music, so this is like what we were like trying to do,
Hmm.
So I think, and the guys have told me a few times, like the fire that was burning inside of us, like, when we joined the band, was like very refreshing, and like that got the band, like when the band started touring, they were like, "Oh yeah, by the way, this is our first tour," and I was like, "Whoa, like that's kind of crazy, the band's been around for so long."
Yeah.
And like they would go out, they would go out of state, but nothing like like a whole path and set
Yeah.
dates and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, man.
Yeah. I mean, shoot, man, touring's tough, man. Like, especially when you go out for like long dates. I don't know what's the longest tour have you done before?
Oh man, we had one that was planned for this year. We were gonna tour the whole month of June,
Uh,
but obviously everything got canceled. But the last big tour that I went on was with the guys, and it was like 14 days, around 14, 15 days,
yeah,
with like one night off. Yeah.
yeah. Dang, one night off.
Mhm.
Dang, yeah, man. Those are tough, man. I mean, it's fun. Don't get me wrong. It's super fun getting to see the countryside, driving around. Yeah, I do like flying. It's a lot faster, but when you're in the van and you're seeing areas of the U.S. that you've never seen before, or you always just hear about, and seeing it for yourself is pretty cool. And
Mhm.
but man, yeah, it takes a toll sometimes, and especially our first tour with the Suffers. I mean, we were our first tour was almost 2 months, I think, because
Ooh.
we quit our job, and so we had no job. So every gig that we were asked to do, we just said yes, just because we're like, oh, that's how we make money, and we just kept
Mhm.
saying yes to everything without actually looking at the big picture. And
Right.
then
Yeah.
next thing you know, it was like 2 months, and you're like, oh man, oops. but yeah,
Yeah. Seriously.
but yeah, touring's fun, man, and I love it. I definitely miss it now, especially that we're just been
I miss everything, man.
yeah,
I miss every. I miss rehearsing.
yeah, dude,
I miss just getting together with the guys, just chilling, playing music, and after we're just like catching up and
yeah.
all that good stuff.
Do y'all ever Zoom or FaceTime and stuff like that?
Nah, we have a group message. Nothing like super. I mean, the guys are still like pretty busy.
Yeah,
We all lead our own lives, so
yeah,
but we still keep connected. And actually, we've actually been trying to put out more content on our Instagram, especially.
mm-hmm,
So we've been, and that's where, man, quarantine has really taught me that I take a lot of like the availability of a skill set that I can gain
mm-hmm,
is like I take that for granted, when pre-quarantine,
yeah,
But like now it's like you have YouTube at your fingertips. You can learn anything you want pretty much, instantly. I have a friend who was a producer that he learned everything off of YouTube.
yeah,
And so I've had to learn like how to mix, how to edit, how to like edit video, which is something that I've always wanted to like dabbled in. So we've been trying to use all of our like combined skills in the band to push out this content, just to it's more or less for for the fans mostly,
yeah,
but also for us to keep us like engaged with the band still, and still to keep our music like at the front of our mind.
yeah. So what are some of the new things you've learned during this quarantine?
I think that the biggest thing that I learned was my lack of discipline when it came to practice.
Yeah.
You know, because I'm still in school. I have 1 year left of undergrad,
Uh-huh.
and so when you have a band and you have gigs and you have school, there's a reason that you want to take out the horn every day,
Mm-hmm.
and that's what kind of like pushes you. Is more or less like a passive motivation almost.
Yeah.
So. And I experienced this like when I took a gap year of college when my family got my nephew,
Mm-hmm.
and it was kind of like that, but multiplied because back then, like the world was still going like kind of at a steady pace. But since quarantine hit, there's been so much has been happening in the last 3 months, that everything is like condensed more.
Yeah.
So I'm watching friends of mine, and I'm watching like people that I pretty much idolize on Instagram, just pumping out this content and posting their videos of them shedding something like a solo or just like blowing over blues or something like that. And I see that I'm just like, wow, like that's where that kind of motivation takes over,
Yeah.
and you're seeing like all these people on social media, and you're like, wow, like I want to be able to do that. I got to keep my chops up, and so that's pretty much what's been pushing me to
Like,
keep the horn on, on my face. Yeah.
yeah, man. I mean, definitely, the lack of discipline for sure. Like, I'm starting to like feel almost opposite because like when I'm like on the road, obviously I have to play every day, right? And like,
Mhm.
but now that I have the time at home, like I feel like I'm concentrating a lot more on like things that I have should have been focusing on ahead of, like I was talking to Lance, my friend Lance, last week, and just a lot of basic stuff that I've been neglecting, and foundational things, and just to like make playing easier that I always put off the back on the back burner just because to me I found it so boring. And but now I find it like, because I have all this time and I have a little more patience now, I can sit there and I have nowhere to be. I can sit there and do long tones for like the long tones for the amount of time I need to do. You know what I mean? Like,
Hmm.
but if it's like during a normal, busy, hectic touring schedule, I don't want to do that. Yeah,
Yeah,
but
seriously.
motivation, man, like definitely, I see what you're saying about like other musicians just pumping out content. Some of the things I've been trying to learn um, is like recording at home. I don't
Yeah.
know. Do you do a lot of recording at home or any?
All of my recording I do now is at home. Yeah.
Okay. Do you like record songs, or you like recording yourself practice and stuff like that?
Both. I do both
Okay.
actually. Yeah. Recording myself practice hasn't been a thing in my practicing as much as it should be. And man, if there's any musician out there that's like watching, just like record yourself, man. It's like everyone has like a phone that has like a mic on it. Just record yourself. It's such a valuable tool,
Yeah.
and I never really realized that until like more recently. But yeah, all of my I've been doing more work for some ska bands that are like out of state, and like some friends of ours, like Matamoska and stuff like that. So all of my stuff is like at home. I just have a little. I switch between normally like a Shure SM57 and the 58.
Hmm.
They're pretty much like the same microphone,
Yeah.
and then I have like Logic on my computer, and I have like these little monitors that my brother gave me for my birthday, and I have an interface that I borrowed from my friend that I should probably give it back, but
We'll keep that on a DL, man. I'll
I know, yeah.
that out.
We'll wait until he knows where I live. He can come get it.
For everybody that's just like joining in, I'm here hanging out with my friend Robert Verdugo, and we're just talking, chilling, hanging out. Yeah, but yeah, man, like recording definitely is something I've been wanting to, to learn more about at home for sure. I'm slowly getting like gear, like ordered, like when I first did this podcast, like I literally woke up one morning and was like, I'm gonna do this, and I mean, and I'm shout out to my first guest, Henry Darrow, great Houston trombonist, good guy, um, and he was totally down to do it and be the first guest, and I mean, it was good content for sure. But the quality of the content, man, it could have been way better. But podcasting is something definitely I've been learning, on the fly, and it's fun. I mean, as long as you have a topic and you have good people to talk about cool shit, like you're good. Uh,
Yeah.
but how did you learn some of the recording stuff? Did you learn any of it while you were in college, or mostly YouTube?
Well, I guess there's like kind of two aspects to recording, and it's like the software part, and there's like the hardware of like actually kind of getting. I feel like there's almost like a mindset you need to put yourself when you're recording.
Hmm.
You know. So I think that all of the technical stuff, just like pressing record and stopping and splicing and doing whatever mixing, adding stuff. A lot of that was learned like with YouTube, and mostly just like experimenting with like what sounds the best.
Hmm.
I was fortunate to have the keyboardist of Matamoska, Esteban Flores, a great talented keyboardist, also very talented
He's
producer.
he's I nah,
He's
nah, it's like what's
Yeah,
going
yeah, I know a better one, yeah.
on?
But also super dope, talented producer.
Yeah.
So if I have like any question about anything, I could just call him at any time.
Hmm.
What's he doing?
Yeah.
Nothing. Like the rest of us. But yeah.
That's awesome.
But and then I was fortunate to study with some really good people in college that were very had a lot of experience working in Los Angeles,
Hmm.
and just getting to absorb kind of their mentality, kind of the space that they put themselves in when the red light's on. Has been like super super valuable. And like obviously, the more you practice, the more consistent things get.
Yeah.
So the less you have to worry about kind of technical stuff, that the physical stuff that'll get in
Yeah.
the way.
Yeah.
And at some point, it solves. It turns into. I mean, I'm sure you've experienced this with recording your music, but all the technical stuff goes away because you know what you want to play, and you know these songs really well. It
Hmm.
becomes 100% of a mental game at that point.
Yeah. So, do you feel more comfortable like recording at home or at a studio?
I think that I like recording in a studio more. It's cool to have as much time as you want, and kind of working at your own pace.
Yeah.
But I feel like I kind of work a little bit better more with the pressure. Also being able to be in the studio with the producer or
Yeah.
an engineer and like whoever else is in your band.
Mhm.
Being able to just like play something and be like, hey, what did that sound like? Did it sound good to you?
Mhm.
Just getting that those second opinions really really help sometimes.
Yeah. Man, I've talked about this a couple times too with some other guests. I'm just not the biggest fan of recording. I hate the pressure. Like I just like
Oh
I mean, everybody's like, I always feel like everybody's just like watching and listening to you, like every single thing. And I mean, it's cool. And I know they're going to make everything sound better. But I'm starting to, I guess, like you were saying too, like the more you do it, the more comfortable you become at doing it. And definitely recording has been a little bit easier every time I go into the studio. And,
yeah.
but yeah, I'm just asking because, since because of the pandemic and everything, the Suffers were supposed to go to the studio actually a couple days ago or something like that. I don't remember, but we kind of pushed everything back since Texas everything has been spiking, and we didn't
Hmm.
really want to be in a small studio with 8 people and stuff,
Wow.
and so we threw out the idea of possibly some of the everybody recording from their houses. And
Mm.
so possibly, I mean, we don't know if our bassist, she's from Jules. What's up, Jules? If you're out there, she's from Portland. I mean, she's originally from Houston, but she lives in Portland. So it's just like, and she was kind of nervous about flying down, which I don't blame her, man. Like it's pretty scary, and so she'll be recording her parts from Portland, but and we the horns might record from home as well because our spit goes everywhere. I don't want to be in someone's studio or living space
Hmm.
and that stuff go everywhere, even though I know I don't have COVID or anything, but just taking those precautions and whatnot. So I mean,
Definitely.
yeah, definitely recording from home is something that I've been wanting to definitely dive in like a lot more than I had been wanting to in the past and stuff like that.
Hmm.
But
Yeah, definitely. I mean, with Matamoska too, we were actually like mid album,
oh,
recording all the stuff. We had like I think we locked everything down about a week before we were supposed to finish the horns.
mm-hmm.
So man, we'd finished like most of it, and then we had sent out a Barry sax part out to a great Barry sax player out here to record his parts at home. So we added that, and we were like super stoked to finish everything up.
Yeah.
And everything hit, and that just made everything slow back down. We were supposed to push out this record in May, I think May or early June, and we were going to tour it in June.
Nice.
You know,
Yeah.
so that was like the plan, but obviously things change. So we've been having to adapt, and now slowly but surely we're finishing up. We just finished the leads on the album. Everything sounds really really tight.
Nice.
Now the last thing we need to do is finish up those horns and do some background vocals and lead vocals, and we're done.
Nice.
And our studio, we've been recording out of the studio in Orange, Pot of Gold Studios,
Okay. Cool.
and it's just like yeah, it's dope. It's with Dave Irish, the
Sounds
I think
so
the
familiar.
producer, like
Oh, why?
yeah, he's in like real big fit. I hate name dropping, man, but he's such a great guy. He's such a great guy to work with, man, and
Yeah.
like he's been an immense help to the band over the last few years. So for him to allow us to use his space to record has been like fantastic for us. So we're almost done. We're getting there just slowly. They've been sanitizing down there, and
Yeah.
we've discussed kind of as a band that we're all kind of individually down to go, or we could go as a group and
Mm-hmm.
just kind of be in the same room together. We all don't mind. All of us don't have it, so
Yeah.
you know,
That's awesome.
yeah,
Yeah. Definitely. Yeah. It's definitely been a challenge because of everything and just kind of keeping on a schedule and like try to pump out new songs and stuff. But we'll get through it for sure, man. Um,
definitely.
so what are where are you going to college again?
So right now I'm going to attending the Bob Cole Conservatory at the at Cal State Long Beach
Okay.
out here.
And
Yeah,
and you just
yeah,
recently started going there because I remember we were last time we were hanging out, you were talking about I think trying out to get in.
yeah. So my whole like collegiate story is like kind of interesting.
Hmm.
You know, um, maybe you could tell me at the end if it is, and then if not, you can just, you know what I mean. Um, yeah, so I started attending Citrus College, community college out here in Glendora, and the faculty there is great. A lot of my peers are great. I joined Matamoska because I went to that school pretty much. I still keep in contact with like so many people that were there. The professors are all, very, very knowledgeable in their fields, and I loved it there. And after that, Citrus is, well, I kind of took my time going there, finishing up my general eds because I wanted to be involved in Matamoska. We were touring, and like most universities, they allow you to go on tour.
Yeah,
Like they'll let you, but then you'll come back to just like it'll be a mess sometimes. That's
yeah.
why I've always avoided it. But yeah, so I went there, kind of took my time, eventually transferred to Azusa Pacific University, which is right a block south, of Citrus.
Uh-huh.
A lot of people that go to Citrus usually go to APU, and it's a great, very fine program. I actually went there as a music education major. I want to be a band director or something, just like teach me elementary music or um, something like that. And I was there for a year, met some really, really great people, and ended up leaving the school because I wanted to change my major.
Mm-hmm.
I think that school, very, very great school
Yeah.
for music education, but it's more education based
Mm-hmm.
than it is like performance based. And I wanted to kind of go that route of the performer, and everything I did at Citrus at that point for 4 years, I think, and everything is kind of like nestled away in Azusa.
Mm-hmm.
So I decided that I wanted to attend a school that was more central in like the scene. And Long Beach has a scene of its own, but it's also super close to LA.
Yeah.
And so I had a friend of mine that I went to high school with. His name is Greg Ocho Torrena. I don't know if he's listening, but if he is, what's up, Greg? Um, he went to Cal State Long Beach right out of high school, and he's a year older than me. So he would always tell me coming back to the high school, like, "Oh man, like I love the school. You should really come here
Mm-hmm.
if you want to play trombone. Like this is the place to be." And I was always like, "No, it's okay, man. Like I'll just kind of do my own thing for a little bit."
Yeah.
And so ended up going to Citrus APU. Decided to take a gap year because I wanted to audition to come into the spring for Cal State Long Beach,
Mhm.
but that didn't really work out with the way that the ensembles work. They do it like for the full year. You audition for the full year.
Yeah.
Um, so I decided to just wait the year. It was around when my family got my nephew, you know. So I just wanted to help out at home, and I was playing trombone, finishing up general eds and stuff. Then decided to, and that's I think the last time I saw you was when I was about to audition to Cal State Long Beach,
Yeah.
and I auditioned, and some of the faculty already knew me because I would always hang around my friend that went there,
Yeah.
and a lot of the students, a lot of the trombone studio already knew me. So I felt like comfortable getting into the school, and
Mm-hmm.
then, kind of transitioning from no college to like, oh crap, I'm taking 17 units of this stuff, again,
Yeah.
and I have all these other obligations. Like, let me go back into this mode, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's been cool. I'm kind of bummed out that CSU has already announced for everything to go online for next semester.
Oh,
So, and ensembles won't really work anyways because, how are you going to fit a whole orchestra, social distance, and, rehearse, whatever, have a concert. It's just so much that you have to worry about. So I'm kind of bummed that I really only got to attend Cal State Long Beach for like 2 semesters.
mm-hmm.
My first semester, and then this COVID one, and then the online one, and then my last semester. Hopefully, everything's going to be online or in person again.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's where I'm at, man. One more year of undergrad, and then hopefully off to get a second piece of paper with a master's.
Esteban goes, I'm watching someone get married. Or AJ. Low key, I have this snuck in a Bible. Nice, dude.
Yeah,
Love you, Esteban.
yeah, man.
That's awesome, dude. That's cool, man. Uh, have you been taking any lessons or anything over Skype and stuff like that?
Oh yeah. So
Or
I
are
mean,
you
like
giving
for the rest of my semester, I was what was that?
Are you giving lessons or are you just taking them?
Not really given a lot of lessons. I'll give a lesson like, here or there. It's
Yeah,
nothing like that's been like super consistent this far.
yeah.
But as far as like getting lessons on over Skype, the teacher that I was studying with at Cal State Long Beach was doing that when the quarantine hit.
Mm.
I actually had a junior recital to put out, because you wanted to do the junior recital so I could do my senior one next year so I could graduate. I learned all this music in the last 2 semesters and was really looking forward to performing it in front of all my family and friends, and then
Yeah.
like quarantining. But yeah, so he was giving me lessons over FaceTime and stuff like that. And that was cool, with trombone. There's like nothing quite like just hearing it in person. And, I mean, I guess with like really any instrument,
Yeah.
but there's another aspect of it that you feel in the room when you're with a really, really fine musician that's like teaching you, like
Yeah.
that's especially how I feel with my teacher is a principal trombonist of an orchestra here in Southern California. So his sound and it's just so gorgeous, and to be able to hear that in person is
Yeah.
just such a privilege,
Yeah.
and then but I feel kind of robbed of that
Mhm.
whenever it's online, just because it doesn't quite capture. It still sounds amazing, but it doesn't
Yeah.
quite capture the small minute things that make that sound like what it is.
Yeah, man. Yeah, dude. Yeah, it's just like it sucks because I've said it on other episodes, but the premise of this was at first like I wanted to take lessons from different trombonists around Houston, just because I
Mhm.
noticed some things on tour I wish I could do better, and rather sit with a trombone player. And so I started like making a list of people I wanted to take lessons from different backgrounds of and styles of music, and then
Mhm.
started interviewing them, or I wanted to interview them as well. And so that's how I started the podcast. But I never even got to take any lessons from anybody because the whole, quarantine and stuff or pandemic. And yeah, um, but yeah, dude, definitely I understand. I'm kind of skeptical about like taking the lesson on Skype because, like you said, like because I want someone to really like listen in and like listen to my sound to really diagnose what I'm feeling, or and but yeah, man. But technology is
Yeah,
pretty cool to be able to still be able to, do some sort of lessons and stuff like that,
yeah.
and whatnot. But yeah, that's cool, man. So besides college, like, so the other bands that you were playing with, or used to play with was La Banda Scaravera,
Hmm.
and
Yeah, so those guys, yeah, sorry, go ahead.
oh no, go ahead.
Oh, for sure, man. I'm just
Yeah,
stoked,
yeah.
No, those guys are really, really dope. They rehearse like more east than where I live.
Uh-huh.
So they make that trip to Mecca in LA each time they do a show, and they don't really do shows often.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that was actually the first job that I think it was the first job that I auditioned for. I didn't get it the first time,
Mm-hmm.
but eventually like they started calling me for some stuff. Um, Yeah, man. Sorry, that's really all I got to say about them.
Yeah, that's awesome though.
Fantastic
And,
guys,
and then who
great
else?
music, man.
And who
Anyone
else?
should check them out.
Steady 45s, right?
Right, yeah.
Yeah,
Steady 45s, also LA based ska, more like traditional ska out here.
yeah, they're killers.
Dope guys, man. Oh man, those guys are just such good performers.
Yeah.
And like all super super nice guys. I've always like heard when I was going to Citrus, I always tell you like, how the real world is,
Hmm.
and how if someone doesn't like you, they're just not going to call you back for a gig. They're not even going to tell you why. They're just going to cut you. So I kind of built up this idea that I had to be like on my best behavior, like going out into the world and like working. You know, and then I meet these guys, and all of them are just like super passionate. Pretty much like as long as you can somewhat meet how passionate you are, about what you're doing, like you're just
Yeah.
super chill guys.
Yeah.
You know.
Super nice. We got to play a show with them at God, I can't think of the venue. Um, God, where was it? Where they do the reggae thing every Wednesday.
Oh, it was yeah, the
Dub
Echo Club.
Club.
Yeah, I went to that show. It was a dub club. Yeah, at the Echo in LA.
Yeah, Echo. The Echo. Yeah.
Yeah, I went. I think that might have been the first show that we met like face to face.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, man. And it's funny, man, because you also know JJ. Shout out JJ.
Shout out to AJ, man. My people call him my final form.
What's
You
up?
know,
What was that last part?
people call JJ my final. People call JJ my final form.
Oh, nice.
Because I went to the scene, man, glasses, trombone, Mexican, like can't beat that, dude.
He's super cool guy. It's funny because like, well, first of all, like it seems like the LA ska scene. even though it's huge, it's still like small. Like everybody knows each other. It's like
Mhm.
really cool community, and I know just because I've known Esteban, I've known the guys at Steady 45s, you, all of Matamoska. I found out about JJ and super cool guy. Never got to meet him, and
Really?
yeah. So, but he was on the podcast a couple weeks ago, and that was the first time I got to talk to him. And
Oh, nice.
super cool, man. Like everybody in LA that I've met so far has always been like super chill, super cool, and great musicians, man. Y'all got a lot. Y'all got a lot to appreciate over there for sure, and the weather.
Man, I know, man. Oh, it's so beautiful. But at least you guys get seasons.
Yeah.
Like everything, it's always hot and then rain and then hot. I think it snowed today, like randomly this
Oh,
year. But
it.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, man.
The time of year that you take about like 2 or 3 showers a day, just because you wake up, take a shower, then you go check the mail, and you're like, oh, I'm already sweating. Gotta go take another shower. Um, but yeah, man. So let's talk about the LA ska scene because like I didn't get to touch too much of it with JJ, and I just think it's super dope how, like I was saying, it's a tight knit community, and it seems like everybody is helps out one another, and
Yeah,
and not only that, it's huge. Like it's like the backyard shows are fucking awesome, dude. Like you don't get that here in
nothing
Houston.
like
First
it,
of all,
man.
like the ska scene here in Houston, it's good, but it's just not that big. And but LA, man, I feel like that scene has never died at all.
Oh no, not at all. Oh man, it's on the rise, man, and especially like you don't really see much of it. You know, um, a lot of it is like still very underground.
Mm-hmm.
And like just caters to the community.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what the ska music in LA is always catered to the community,
Yeah.
especially in places like East LA, South Central. And yeah, man, I remember like I grew up in the suburbs. You know,
Yeah.
and when I started playing with Matamoska, just getting an address and being like, all right, man, we're playing here tonight. Like, I'll see you at 9 or whatever.
Yeah.
And then I check it and I'm like, South Central? Like is that like is it a club or is it a bar? Like what is it? And then I pull up and I'm driving past this house and people just walking in and out. I'm like, whoa, like you gotta be kidding me.
Mm-hmm.
And I never knew backyard shows were like a thing,
Yeah.
until I started playing with Matamoska. And until I started doing it, man, I remember the first couple times just being really, really nervous about something happening to my horn,
Uh-huh.
you know. But now, I'm still pretty protective over my horn. But now it's more like if something happens, something happens. I'm just gonna have fun. But like you said, dude, like the LA ska scene, super, super tight knit. Everyone promoting each other's stuff pretty much. Everybody like playing in each other's bands. I mean, Esteban's one that he's played in like 20, 25 ska bands in LA.
Yeah.
And he's like the keyboardist.
Yeah.
Uh, Myself, I've done like recording and shows for some like up and coming bands for some friends.
Mm-hmm.
You know, played like the backyard circuit with them and stuff. But yeah, man, it's there's nothing like a sense of like playing a show with like a sense of community.
Yeah.
There's one thing to like play a show on tour in front of a couple hundred people or something like that,
Yeah.
and it's like okay, like great, like this is fun, this is a lot of fun, but it's totally different when you're back home and with the people that make you want to continue on with your band and the people that pretty much made your band.
Yeah.
Like
Exactly.
when we wouldn't get anywhere without the home community.
Yeah, definitely, man. God. Well, not only I miss playing shows. I mean, yeah, and last I can't even remember the last time we played in Houston. And all of our Houston shows have, it just seems like everything just gets better and better. And we've always appreciated the hometown crowd, man. Like, yeah, because if it
Mm,
wasn't for them, supporting all these years and going to your shows and just pushing you and just realizing like, man, let's take this like somewhere else and show like everybody else like what Houston's about or LA's about and man, dude, there's nothing like playing at home. Um,
seriously.
There, Jacqueline. She says, "I love you, Rob. What a snack."
That's my that's my girlfriend. That's my girlfriend.
What's up, Mark? And then Carlos Calderon. I know that guy. What's up? What's up?
What's up, Carlos?
And then let's see. But yeah, man, that's cool. Yeah, nothing like the LA ska scene. I'm trying to remember the first time I played in LA with Los Granados, long, long time ago. Um, Shoot, I can't even remember where we played. Um, but man, just good times all around. And there was a time we played a festival as well, and we were the very last band after. I don't even remember who the the headliner was, but they went on forever to the point where they had to turn all the power off when we're about to go on. I just remember it was in a small arena outside,
Mm-hmm.
and then like we played without power like three songs, and then there was like an after party at where all the bands were staying at this little hotel, and we were partying in the parking lot till like 6 in the morning. Oh my god, it was crazy, man. Good times for
Right.
sure. If Pat's still
Seriously.
on here, I know he remembers that night or vaguely remembers. But yeah, man. So outside of music, what are you doing to like keep sane, entertain, out of trouble?
Well, man, got my girlfriend. She's amazing, super big support. Not a boring day that goes by whenever I spend time with her.
Yeah,
But to be honest with you, man, like my life like probably revolves around music in some way, shape, or form, you know. But like step aside from music, my family, fortunately, like all of us have been really, really healthy.
nice.
And yeah, my nephew has been keeping me, man. There's nothing like watching like he's like 2 now. And there's nothing like watching like a little kid like just learn how to communicate,
Yeah,
you know. So, so yeah, man, that's been how I've been keeping sane this whole quarantine,
that's awesome. And you said that how long? So your nephew, y'all adopted him, correct?
We're actually in the process of adopting him.
Okay, cool. Oh,
Yeah,
when did y'all first get him? When he was first born, or
right. So that's kind of an interesting story. My dad, I remember one day was like sitting in his office downstairs, and he gets a call, and he's like, "Hey, is this Ernie?" My dad's like, "Yeah, who's Ernie?" And she's like, "Oh, my name is Mandy. Um, I have your grandson." And my dad was kind of like, "Okay, what? Like, are you sure you have the right number?" And she was like, "Oh yeah, like I have the right number. Like this is Ernie, right?" And he's like, "Yeah." And he was 4 months old when we learned of his existence. Um, my oldest brother, he's a half brother, but I still consider him to be full blood.
yeah, yeah,
Um, is incarcerated. So he had this child when he was out, and now he's incarcerated. I think the mom is out now, but she was incarcerated when Zion was brought into this world, and we learned about him. And at first, he started staying over at weekends.
mm,
My parents were super stoked for a grandchild.
yeah,
I think they were kind of happy to have like the grandchild, but not to have it from like me or my brother.
yeah.
They're like, oh yeah. Um, but yeah, he started staying over weekends, and that eventually turned into him staying over. The This lady Mandy, she has a couple of his sisters,
hmm.
so she has her hands full with some like a three, I think 3 and 5 or 6 or something like that, but kind of like that age range. And so she has her hands full. It's kind of hard to raise like a 6 month old or something like that when you have like these other kids around.
Oh yeah,
And so he started staying with us full time. That was around the time where I was taking a gap year from college, so it was perfect. I
hmm,
was mostly like babysitting him, and just doing like couple general ed classes, but like mostly babysitting him. And he just has like this aura about him. He's like always in a really really good mood.
hmm.
Every time I post him, it seems like nobody knows that any of my social media exists unless I post like a him. Like Zion, like he's so cute, like all this stuff. We got him a little. Now he's 2. It's been a couple years. Um, and we bought him a little. It's called a P Buzz. It's like the people that made P-Bone.
Yeah.
They made like just it's like a 5 note thing. It's just like one straight tube. And he bought a mouthpiece and he's buzzing, man.
What?
He's buzzing.
And you?
He's making sound. He's
Oh
making sound.
my
Yeah.
god, dude.
I put on my Instagram story him singing Twinkle Twinkle or the ABCs
Yeah.
yesterday, his ABCs. And you know, it's cool that he knows the words, but what I was most impressed about was the fact that he was like singing in pitch, man.
Dang.
So
Dude.
I think we got a little trombone player, you know.
Nice.
Hopefully everything works out. When he was a little bit younger, I would always practice, and there were actually a couple times when he was still crawling that I would kind of play something like do a long tone or something, and he would like kind of hum it,
Yeah.
you know. So that was I'd be playing, and then he would like stand up and like reach up and grab my trombone and like to tell you like, hey, stop playing,
Yeah.
you know.
He's like, you're
Like
flat.
he's always been, I know, seriously, he's like, you're sharp, man. I'm trying to pull your slide down. Yeah, but he's always been super interested in the horn and the music. And I have friends come over and record like their parts on my house, trumpet or sax or whatever.
Yeah.
And he's always been super interested in getting to know the instruments and stuff like that. So hopefully, eventually, when he's of age, I'll start giving him. He'll be my first student. Who'll be a blood relative.
Nice, man.
Yeah.
See, that's one thing that I always saw that's important in well, just in kids in general is like having like keeping them interested in other things besides like TV and I mean I grew up watching a lot of TV and I'm okay, but it's cool to like kind of have like other things like like music. I was lucky enough to have a cousin. He's 8 years older than me, but he always was practicing sax. He played saxophone, so that was my musical like introduction pretty much. And
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, just to have music around or someone just just playing music, or getting involved, like even if they're not a musician, I think just music in general is a really good experience and like educational kind of thing for kids in general.
Mm-hmm. Well, most definitely, man. I think I totally agree with you on that. Growing up, like my first like I think like the earliest memories I have of listening to music in the car to listening to things like Frank Sinatra
Hmm.
and like Billie Holiday, Ella Fitzgerald with my grandpa because he was really into like old jazz and like kind of big band stuff.
Yeah.
And then my grandma was into Luis Miguel, and of
Nice.
course, like, oh my God, to me he's the best vocalist of all time, you know. But so like growing up listening to that, and then I come hang out with my dad, and my dad was always playing like Malo, War, Tower of Power, kind of like the Chicano funk,
Nice.
that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So just being exposed to like that, and then my dad also introduced me to like Marvin Gaye and Luther Vandross and stuff like that. So I think I really Rick James is such a huge one for me,
Nice.
But I agree with you, man. Just being exposed to it, just sitting in the car and like listening to it, man. I feel like kids like growing up now are always going to be kind of plugged into their phone. Like I don't know how many kids are going to be growing up kind of the way that I think my generation kind of saw the tail end of that.
Yeah.
Just sitting in the car, just riding with like something on the radio, just kind of like looking around or whatever.
Yeah, definitely, man. I definitely have a lot of memories of being in the car with my parents. But because I didn't have a phone or a tablet or whatever, I was always fixated about my surroundings and what was playing on the radio or what they had on. Like my
Mhm.
dad, he was big into like Chicago, Donald Fagen, who was like Doobie Brothers, Wings,
Right on.
and so
Right.
like Chicago, I remember him playing Chicago a lot, and I just remember being like, oh, man, this sucks, bro. Like I don't want to be listening to this. And then,
Mhm.
but next thing you know, like later on in life, when you're a little older and more mature, I'm like, man, Chicago's pretty badass. Those horn lines are fucking tight,
Oh yeah.
And then
Yeah.
my mom was always into, a lot of like soul, Motown, and stuff like that. So I feel like I had a really good childhood musically, for sure, or just
Mhm.
listening to music. And but yeah, my grandpa was big into like big band stuff. Um,
Mhm.
my grandmother, when I used to come over to her house on like during the summer, what is that? They're on PBS. They're a Lawrence Welk show. You ever seen that?
Yeah. Oh yeah. 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 Lawrence Welk. Yeah. Of
So
course.
yeah, so every time I would come over, or certain times of the day, whenever Lawrence Welk came on, like I just so happened to come over, and I would just watch it, and they had all kinds of music, but they would have horns, they would have country singers or whatever, and
Oh yeah.
that was my exposure to that kind of stuff, and I thought it was super cool. I was just glued on to the TV just watching that. But yeah, I think it's a great introduction to music, especially when they're young, man. I think it's just so important, and yeah, because yeah, I just think so.
Yeah. Definitely, man. Have you ever heard of a show called A Prairie Home Companion?
No, man, I haven't.
Oh my gosh, dude! This show, my dad would always listen to it, and it was like a radio variety show.
Uh huh.
So, man, I forget the name of the host, Garrison Keel or something like that. Um, and this show was like super, super like they would kind of I think it kind of like appealed to the more like rural Midwest or something like that. Um, but they had like all different types of music on there, and they would do sketches, and they would do like all sorts of things. You know, it was on the radio. My dad loved listening to this,
Yeah.
and even now, like I'll find myself because after a certain age, I kind of just forgot about it for a while,
Yeah. Yeah.
and then like a year ago, I was like, hey, whatever happened to the show? And I started like listening to episodes again, and I was like, man, like I know like where this kind of came from.
Yeah.
Like just listening. There's nothing like listening to. My big thing is like I love any sort of music that is like very very organically made.
Mm-hmm.
It just it sounds like the performers, like it's their voice, and a lot of the musicians I look up to and trombonists I look up to, um, have like that voice and have that just it comes from like another place that only they can channel.
Yeah.
You know, and so I think like my earliest memories of even like that stem from like that radio show, Prayer Home Compania. If anyone knows what I'm talking about, man, they know what that show's all about.
That's awesome, man. Well, there's five. I forgot to ask this for to JJ and Lance these past two episodes. But who are some of your like top five? I guess you could say top five trombonists that kind of like that you look up to, and in your playing or just in general.
Hmm. Okay, so let me think for a
Or
second.
it doesn't have to be
So
five. It could just be
the one that pops up immediately is this trombone player by the name of Marshall Jilks,
mm-hmm.
and he's New York based. He's a jazzer, but also does like classical stuff. Like he'll play one night at the Village Vanguard with the Vanguard Orchestra, and the next night he'll be subbing in on second trombone with the New York Phil. So super super versatile.
Yeah.
Um, I love how his like growing up, his collegiate life wasn't really like the norm. It wasn't like 4 years and get a master's and get a doctor or whatever like that. It was kind of like he left school and just moved for a while. So I feel like I kind of like relate to that, just kind of finding my own path. But he's a phenomenal composer, incredible, incredible trombone player, and super nice guy. I met him. He did like a trombone day out here in where I live, like about 5 minutes from where I live at a Mount San Antonio College, a junior college.
Nice.
And I met him, and just to be able to like hear his sound like live
Mm-hmm.
was like something else, man. He played with I think it was like a quintet, or no, it was a quartet. He played with this quartet, and also played with this trombone choir and stuff like that. But I was just like so fixated on him, and his playing. Didn't go to the master class, unfortunately. Would have had like, man, I feel like if I went to that master class, it would have been an hour and a half of me asking questions. It would have been like my lesson, and then everyone else is kind of like joining me. But yeah, he's a super big one. Alex Isles, he's a Los Angeles freelance trombone player. He's like the most working trombone player in the world, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I was fortunate enough to study with him when I was at Azusa Pacific University, and just being around him, and he's such a positive guy who he just loves the trombone,
Yeah.
which is very refreshing out here in LA
Mm-hmm.
because I feel like unfortunately like some of the trombone players here, or musicians in general, are just like they do it because they're really 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 good at it.
Mm.
you know,
Yeah.
and but they kind of like are like vibey or not so welcoming to like the new scene or like something like that.
Yeah.
But Alex is a guy that just like loves trombone. He
Yeah.
loves trombone, you know. So he's like another big one of mine, and he also gave me like a lot of like recording tips and stuff like that. Um, Let me think. I have like a lot of different trombone players that I just like listen to. Obviously the big ones like Christian Lindbergh, Joe Alessi, those guys.
Yeah.
Um, and I think Joe Alessi is like the trombone. Like that's it, man. That like he's it.
Yeah.
Um, that's pretty much like the ones that like, and the non-trombone players that I really look up to. I was fortunate enough to study with the Dean of Music at Citrus College when I attended. His name is Robert Slack
Okay.
or Bob Slack. He played with Buddy Rich, Ella Fitzgerald, Paul Anka. He was heavy on the Vegas scene for a while.
Nice, dude.
Um, Went to Indiana University, studied with this cat named Bill Adam. Um, oh my gosh, I find myself like revisiting a lot of what he has taught me
Mm.
like now because the Bill Adams school is, you hear the sound, you don't think of anything else but that sound, you don't
Mm.
think of anything physical, you just focus all your energy into creating like a beautiful sound,
Yeah.
you know? And I find myself, it really helps me slow down my thought process whenever I practice. Um, but that's pretty much all the ones I can think of off the top of my head. Shout out to all of them.
Yeah.
Joe Leslie, if you're watching,
Yeah.
shout out to
Right. Dude,
what's up, bro?
like I've never been a really big classical, kind of guy. But my friend, I was taking a lesson from Dave Solis. What's up, Dave? If you're watching, super cool guy, really, really talented, like just brass player. He plays all kinds of brass. He plays trombone, tuba, everything. But I was taking a lesson from him, and he was telling me about Alessi, and I was like, nah, I've never heard of him. He's like, dude, you got to check it out. Put it on your Spotify, save it now. So on your drive home, listen to it.
Uh,
And I was just blown away, man. Like I was just like, holy shit! Like this guy just had so much, like not only like a beautiful tone and sound, but just his control of all the notes was just like unreal. Like I
mhm,
don't know what it was about it. I was just like, I just wanted to go and practice. Anytime I
mhm.
hear any good trombonist or just musician in general, I just want to stop what I'm doing. I'm like, all right, I gotta go practice. Like, what am I doing?
Yeah, seriously, yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah.
uh,
There's an interesting kind of the piggyback off of that listening. Um, there's a trombone player out here in California. His name is Will Baker. Shout out to Will if you're watching. Bass trombone player, fantastic human being, fantastic trombone player.
mhm.
Um, he spoke about how um, he kind of looks at music as like a 40-hour a week job,
Yeah,
where even though he's not playing,
yeah,
like he's still putting in his 40 hours or like, if I put in 2 hours today, I'm going to put in 2 more hours of like listening and absorbing.
yeah,
I find myself like, it's so hard, especially like, well, now it's really easy with COVID and everything. You have nothing to do. So you can just sit at home and listen to records all day,
yeah.
but before, like, I commute to Long Beach from where I am, it's about an hour and a half.
Mhm.
So I'll be listening in my car, not even focused on driving at all on autopilot,
Yeah,
and I still feel like I'm putting in that 40 hours. But like you said, man, Joe Lessie, amazing.
yeah, man.
Chef's kiss,
there's
you know?
there's also another trombonist I really like, and like I felt like a super idiot because I got to meet him, but I didn't really know who he was. But at the time when I first met him, his name's Ryan Porter.
Oh my gosh, yeah, Ryan. Yeah,
Yeah,
Ryan Porter. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
dude.
I'm like saying his name like I know him. I don't know him at all. But yeah, Ryan Porter. Yeah, yeah,
uh, dude, killer trombone player. For those who are tuning in, Ryan Porter, he's a trombonist. He plays with Kamasi, Washington, and the West Coast Get Down, I believe. Is that what it's called?
yeah.
A jazz group out in California. I think LA. I don't want to say it wrong, but
LA, yeah, yeah, LA.
okay. And but yeah, super cool guy. We were playing Jam Cruise on sorry, one second. Yeah, we were playing Jam Cruise on I think it was going in Miami, going out of Miami, and anyways, he was playing with Kamasi, and and I was walking. Everybody's like, when you're doing this cruise, everybody's staying in the same hotel in Miami before you go out to port the next day to get on the ship and whatnot. And
Mhm.
Jam Cruise is basically like a festival on a boat, like and stuff like
See.
that. Yeah, and it's super cool. Um, but yeah, I was going to the hotel and I just have my backpack, my luggage, and my trombone. And he's like, oh, what kind of horn do you got? And I told him. I just knew it was just some guy with like a trombone too. He had a trombone. I was like, and I told him what kind of horn I had, and he's like, "Oh, that's super cool." And we just talked like for a few seconds, and that was pretty
Mhm.
much it. But I didn't know who he was, and I'm a shy guy, and so I didn't really make too much conversation. I just like left it at that. Went to my room,
Mhm.
and then I saw him play later on, a couple days into the cruise, and I was like, "Dude, this guy's killer." And then I tried to talk
Yeah.
to him on the cruise because there's no barriers between artists and fans, so you can just hang out with whoever. And
Mhm.
so I tried to talk to him, but he was busy with like a bunch of his friends and some fans that he was hanging out with, and I got to talk to him just for a little bit, and I like, now that I know who he is, and I'm a big fan now. I just like, I still like, damn it, why do you have to be so shy, bro? You could have like talked to this dude and like chopped it up even more. And
Mhm.
but it's funny. But yeah, super cool guy. Man, he has a great sound. I love his tone. His record is amazing. I
Oh
haven't
yeah,
checked
man.
out the newest one yet. But yeah, super talented trombone player, man. And
Oh yeah.
but definitely was lucky enough to see him a few times play with Kamasi. So yeah, it was
Mhm.
tight.
Yeah, yeah. Oh man, I remember like the first time I saw Kamasi's group live was at the Hollywood Bowl actually,
Mm-hmm.
and they were opening up for Herbie Hancock,
That's bad.
and it was sick, such a oh my god, such a sick. I like, man. Anyway,
Yeah,
let me
yeah.
collect myself. But the first thing that I heard when we were walking up to our seats, because I don't know, have you ever been to like the Hollywood Bowl before?
No, never.
So on both sides, there's kind of two ways that you can get to your seats.
Mm-hmm.
There's one side which is like where all the shops and all the like the bars, like where they sell drinks, and like merch and like stuff like that, where you go up these like kind of escalator things and then walk to your seats.
Yeah.
But if you go around like the back of the Hollywood Bowl,
Mm-hmm.
there's a giant concrete like ramp that just takes you all the way up. And you just walk, you're just hiking up this ramp. And my friends and I got the $5 tickets, so we're all the way in the up top in the back.
Yeah.
And first thing that I heard while we were walking up was Ryan Porter just blowing, man. And like it was like I forgot what tune it was in the middle of. They just put out a record. But I remember just like walking like the whole way up the ramp, like just like this, looking at him. Oh my gosh, to hear his sound like in that huge, and he has this very, very warm, like I feel like his sound like almost hugs me every time he plays,
Yeah, man.
but it's beautiful tone and super, super inspiring, man. His songwriting is incredible, like you said.
Yeah.
He's like, I'd say he's another person that I would say is like in my top like five,
Yeah.
you know? Yeah.
And then we got to open up for Trombone Shorty once, and dude, I was so like there's only a few people that I'll get like starstruck or like just like shy around musician wise, and
Mhm.
like I didn't get a chance to meet him. I know some of the other guys got to, but there he would definitely be one. But like where we were playing, like the venue in the green room area, we were on a certain floor and they were a floor above us. So we could,
Mhm.
like, he had been like above our green room because I guess like the ventilation, you could kind of hear him warming up. Dude, the shit
Mhm.
that he was warming up with, I was like, ridiculous. Like, I was just like, dude, I was like, man, I don't even want to play, bro. Like, just go do your thing. Like,
Yes,
I'm
seriously.
done, man. Like, but yeah, he's killer too, man. But yeah, all those guys, man, like they definitely inspirational for sure, man. And we're lucky enough to be able to see these guys live and hear all their music and everything, man.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah. And I think the best part about all of that is like I don't think I've met somebody so far that has been like really, really mean or like,
Hmm.
I feel like this is kind of like stigma against like I don't know, with trombone players, like all the trombone players in it have been really, really cool.
Yeah.
You know? It doesn't matter like if they're playing with like the biggest band or like whatever, like they're just like super down to earth people
Yeah.
who just love the horn, love their music, you know.
Yeah.
Um yeah, sorry, I lost my train of thought.
Nah.
Uh yeah, but oh yeah, super super nice, man. Super welcoming. I've learned so much just from like talking to people. Where like I'm fortunate enough to be out here, close enough to LA to where I can just go any night, just be like, well, not anymore, but any night, just be like, I'm gonna go out and see this person, or like go to this jam and just hang out, and just chop it up or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, super super inspiring for sure.
Yeah.
It's like now they're all on social media.
Yeah, dude.
They're all pumping out. They're the ones pumping out this content.
Yeah, man, and it's cool because like now like people can interact with them. You know what I mean? Like you can if you have a
Hmm.
question or anything, like you just ask them, and most of the times, yeah, they'll write back. One of the trombonists that like he's not a jazz trombonist or a classical trombonist, but he was the trombone player that got me wanting to play trombone in like you know just in a band in general was Buddy from Let's
Hmm.
Jake because I was
Oh,
like,
sick.
because Les and Jake was introduced to me in high school, and I was just like, wait, you
Mhm.
can play trombone like outside of jazz and classical music? Like I had no idea about like ska and stuff like that, and so I was just like, oh shit, and then I follow him on Instagram, and we've been talking about getting in ears for the suffers and stuff like that, but I've always been on the fence about in ears for trombone players or just
Mhm.
and horn players in general because it's just so weird because you're used to hearing a natural sound compared to like if you had something stuck in your ears and you just hear all
Yeah, yeah,
your
yeah,
rattle and just it doesn't sound right.
yeah.
Um, but anyway, he posted something about the in ears he got, and I just was like, oh, what kind did you get? And he wrote back, and I felt like a little kid. I told my wife, I was like, buddy commented back, and like this and that, and even though I don't know, it was a big deal for me, and but it's cool to be able to interact with super cool musicians
Yeah,
online and stuff like that. What a time to be
yeah.
alive with all this technology, man.
Seriously, it's crazy, man. I think that a lot of people that like I've always wanted to get to know. Like I remember Esteban showed me the Suffers right when you guys put out that your first record, the self-titled one, right?
Uh huh.
And I was like super into it, and he was like, "Yeah, I know the keyboard is Pat, like all this stuff." I was like, "That's cool, but like these horns, like these guys sound like really good." I really dug the music, and then like the more I listened to you guys, eventually I was like, "Oh man, I want to get to know this trombone player." And then that's when I think I first started messaging you on like Instagram,
Oh.
or something. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And that's how it's been for like anything that if I see like somebody that I dig on Instagram or something like that,
Hmm.
I just shoot them a DM, just be like, "Hey man, you sound great," or something, like ask them a question about their horn or about whatever, just try to like chat with them. And I don't think I've ever I don't think it's ever been met with like something negative,
Yeah.
or I don't think it's ever been met with like just being left on scene. I
Yeah.
think everybody that I've messaged has always like responded,
Hmm.
and it's like really cool. Like you said, like what a time to be alive, man.
Yeah.
Like you just have I posted like Ryan Porter's one of his songs on my story, and he commented back, and he was just like, "Man, like thank you for listening to my stuff, man. I appreciate it." And I was like, "Yo, like,
Yeah. That's
oh
yeah.
my god!" I like showed my brother. I was like, "Dude, like look who just replied to me." So that's definitely stuff that like I geek out about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's super cool, man. Before I let you go, man, is there any projects that you're working on besides like Matamoska? Anything you want to plug?
Right. So I mean, just I've been dabbling in a lot of like video editing. I'll plug myself actually.
Oh.
I've been dabbling in a lot of like video editing. I do a lot of arranging and stuff like that. I do a lot of recording from home. But aside from that, man, like Matamoska is pretty much where I'm at right now.
Hmm.
This band is like filled with like such incredible guys, and the music that we're like working on right now to put out is like really really incredible. I'm so like proud of these guys for. It's different like when you come from like a school of music, and then you meet all these guys that they grew up learning how to play just by like listening, or like learning how to play from like watching YouTube videos or something like that.
Yeah.
And just like really honing that craft on their own versus like having a teacher pretty much right when or whatever, you know. So I'm really proud of like these guys, and yeah, we should be dropping this like probably like in the next few months,
Nice.
you know.
Yeah,
But
keep me
yeah,
updated, and I'll definitely when it comes out, I'll plug y'all into like the social media, the Bonetown social media page and all that
yeah,
stuff. Yeah,
just
dude.
put it out there into the ether, you know.
Yeah, man, for
Yeah,
sure. Um, but yeah, man. Well, I just want to say thank you again for coming on. It was good catching up, man. I feel like we could talk forever.
dude, seriously, yeah, I was like looking at the time, and I was like, man, like I thought we were at 30 minutes like
It's that
10 minutes
coffee,
ago,
bro.
you know. Yeah, yeah, we can just keep talking and talking, man.
Yeah, man, we're definitely gonna have to do it again. I definitely want to bring JJ on. Maybe I'll do if I'm able to, I'll bring all the LA homies on onto like
Oh yeah,
one show or something.
yeah, yeah,
Because
yeah.
there's so many things that I forgot to ask him about, and but it will be cool to get y'all in here. Speaking of LA, I think next week I'm having my friend Quinn Carson. You know, do you ever?
Oh, Quinn Carson. Yeah, I've never met him. I've always heard great things about him. I've never met
Super
him.
cool, man. Yeah, I definitely gonna pick his brain about recording at home, since I'm trying to learn about some stuff
Mhm,
and trombone and stuff. And but yeah,
mhm.
tune into that. And
Right on. I'll be there.
but yeah, man, it's thank you again for coming on, dude. Definitely keep in touch. You have
Of
my
course.
number, you have my social media, whatever. Just hit me up whenever, and we'll hang out, we'll talk, whatever, dude.
Of course, man. Of course.
All right, bro. Well, thank you again for everything, and I guess I'll catch you another time, bro.
Of course, man. Yeah, it's been a pleasure. Thanks for having me, man. I appreciate it.
All right. Well, you stay healthy out there and be safe.
You too, man.
All right. Later.
Peace out, man.
All right, guys. Thank y'all so much for tuning in on another episode of the Bonetown podcast. Um, that was my friend. That was my friend Rob Verdugo, uh, L.A. trombonist. Plays with Matamoska. I just want to say one more time. Uh, we're doing the Suffers are just launched their Patreon. It's live. Go to patreon.com/the Suffers. If you sign up as a member, you'll get behind the scenes looks of recording our newest album. You'll get the inside scoop of when that's coming out, the name of the album. We'll also be doing recordings of covers and like different takes of our own music, and just switching it up. It'll be cool. But definitely, please, if you haven't signed up, please sign up. Super cool stuff we got in store for y'all. So check it out. But again, thank y'all again for tuning in. We really appreciate y'all checking in onto the podcast. So y'all be safe out there. Wash your hands, wear your mask, and be well. Later.